Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Business Talks. I am your host, Chawanne Burns. In today's episode, we are going to discuss Kamala Harris. Actually, Candace Owens, yesterday in her live stream, she came out with some damning information about Kamala Harris' family. Kamala Harris published a book back in 2019 called The Truth Untold. And she claims that, and she's been telling everyone she is of a black or heritage. Don't know what the heritage, I guess, because her father is from Jamaica. That constitute her being black. So she's claiming this black heritage. But it's kind of sketchy what Candace Owens revealed. So we'll take a look at parts of that video. Also, Suge Knight was on Newsmax being interviewed by Andrew Cuomo. Not Andrew Cuomo, Chris Cuomo. And he had some things that he wanted to say or get a message to Puff Daddy. And some things that he said about the industry. And so we'll get more into that today, all on this episode. So you guys stay tuned.
Something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad. Looks a little something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad.
You guys put in the chat, let me know where you're viewing from. Please put in the chat, let me know where you are viewing from. I see we have Noble Young in the building. What is good? Anger Mismanagement. Good afternoon to you from Gary, Indiana. He's saying Chawanne and everyone. Celeste Hodge, hello from Texas. LJ, good morning. Chawanne from Vegas. Thank you for tuning in. And it is actually morning in Vegas. So it is always good to see our regular viewers online and our moderators. Ultra 80s is tuning in from Chicago. Thank you for tuning in. And so we're not going to hold you too long. I do want to talk about Puff Daddy. Sean Diddy Combs, aka Love, aka Baby Oil, the Baby Oil guy. He has a lot of aliases. Just try to cover all your bases, okay? So Andrew Cuomo, why am I keep on saying Andrew Cuomo? Chris Cuomo, he received a call from he did an interview with Suge Knight on yesterday, and Suge Knight basically explained that Diddy is doing what he's learned in the industry, and not basically it's all his fault, but he decided to go that path, but he's just inflicting pain or trauma on other people because this is what he was taught in the industry by the other people. And he lists several other people in this interview. It's about a 7-minute interview. We all know this. R. Kelly, they said he went through the same thing. He inflicted pain on his victims. He went through the same trauma. So it's just a cycle that repeated itself. Now, during the interview, Suge Knight, I don't know if he's came to Jesus or, found Allah. That's what they do when they're in prison. They have a lot of time to think. And not to take away from, his journey. But he was basically saying Puff Diddy, he can be saved. He's still a person. He's still a human being. And we could still save him. This is what he was trying to get the audience to realize. And then Chris Cuomo actually asked him, okay, do you have any advice for Diddy? And, he gave his, advice. But this is very, Very in this interview is very telling. Okay, let me see if I make sure you guys can see this. And that's what we're going to start off with first.
Whole bunch of years, for decades. And at the same time, nobody wants this to be true, and it shouldn't have to be true. But if we don't fix it and do something about it, history will constantly
repeat itself. Now, Suge, you said something early on that I want to get clarification for the audience, Suge. You said early on, you can't just look at Diddy in isolation. You said this was done to him. He learned from others, and it was done to him, and then he did to others. To me, that sounds like what I hear when people are talking about abusive situations, you know, hurt people, that someone was sexually abused, they wind up being a perpetrator. Is that what you're suggesting about Sean Combs, that he was sexually abused and he now sexually abuses?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I think he repeat what was done to him. And like I said, if you look at Russell Simmons, you know the truth. Andre Rail, you know the truth. Brian Davis, you know the truth. Jimmy Iovine, you know the truth. It was at a point where it's like a whole sex trade, because you take Nicole from the Pussycat Dolls, she just pushed the lines for people to participate. She was messing with Jimmy Iovine when Jimmy Iovine was married to one of the most incredible women in the world named Vicky, and she used to go around and sing that song and change the lyrics to make it put Vicky down. So there's not certain things that all of a sudden you got this. The industry is a quick business. It's been like that for a long time. And the casting couch is real, but it's for women and men. But far from all that, I think the most important thing is I feel like they should let Puffy tell his truth. I'm quite sure he's going to expose a lot of people. I'm sure he's going to move forward with it. But I don't think it should be a situation like the Epstein thing where they found him hanging from the ceiling and dead before the truth come out.
Do you believe
I think
that
the truth needs to be.
Do you believe that Diddy is in danger in prison, and do you have advice for him based on what you just said?
Well, the first advice I have, I don't ever want to say he's in danger, and neither should he say that. Because once he gets to the point where they feel he's going to be suicidal to himself, harmful to himself, once they put him on suicide watch, you have the rights to nothing. No socks, no drawers, no T-shirt, no blanket, no sheets. You asshole naked in a cell as a crazy man for him. Prison and jail is a negative environment. If somebody can do something to them and get a name for themselves, they're going to actually do it. Or they can do whatever they feel they got to do to prove themselves. But we also got to learn. We got to learn from our mistakes. Everything don't have to be a mistake. You got to better yourself. But we all know what we sign up for in life. So if I sign up to be a football player, I knew I'm going to get hit and I'm going to hurt some motherfuckers too. If I signed up to be in the music business and the entertainment business, if you fight for right and being a black man, there's certain things you got to look at for the challenges. If they can't take the money from you, they take you from the money by putting you in prison. That's a fact. In Puffy's situation, he should go and get his time out the way. Not no life sentence. If he can get a lesser time, he should jump on it because he had a great run. I'm in prison right now. I had a great run. So I don't go mad. I don't wake up mad. I've been locked up for 10 years, and I ain't had a bad day yet. And it's a lot of things we can do to help each other, and it's never too late for help. God bless us to have a voice. Let's use our voice. I had told Puffy a while back. I told T.D. Jakes a while back. Shit, come on, collect calls. We can politic. Because one thing for certain, one thing for sure, he's just not going to walk away with one scratch on it.
Do you think that Diddy?
He can do so.
Do you think Diddy knows enough that it's a very delicate balance, that maybe investigators will want to know these other names and greatly reduce his exposure to criminality, to time, versus what people would do to keep him quiet?
Number one, I've been knowing him a long time, and we was friends. We're not enemies, but we were friends. He's not a dummy, so he's smart enough to work his magic. On top of that, this man right here, he been involved with the FBI and most of his career. Shit, he got powerful people. One of his partners who started his company with drug money, President Obama, got him out of prison. So it's not like she don't have no moves. So I don't think nobody should just count him out. I don't think he gonna lay down and just crawl in the corner and die. He probably going through a lot of shit right now because he probably going through a lot of withdrawals for the drugs. But the industry got him on drugs. My artist, one of the worst mistakes I could have made was protecting my artist is doing a deal at Interscope. When my artist used to pull up in valet, the Murdoch deal now because you're probably going through a lot of withdrawals for the drugs, but the industry got him on drugs. My artist, one of the worst mistakes I could have made was protecting my artist is doing a deal at Interscope. When my artist used to pull up in valet, the Murdoch building, they'd get out, they'd smell like weed. When they clothes smell like weed. When they made it to any office, it would smell like weed. Those guys, for my artists, they introduced cocaine to my artists. So once they got on cocaine, once they got on drugs, once they got on alcohol, and that's when the weird stuff happened. And I think that's what took Puffy down that lane. Then you got to remember, Clyde Davis, Russell Simmons, Andre Harrell.
Simon, come on.
Better believe it. Alcohol, drugs. He compromised his manhood. Because he was taught that. He got Usher as a kid. They never recorded no songs, but alcohol, drugs,
Simon.
sex. Justin Bieber. And see, they do these things to take control. They're not doing, there's nothing wrong with being gay. If you choose to be gay, that's your preference. But they're doing this to people for control. It's a power situation.
Suge,
And they've been having the power of the, yes.
I appreciate your perspective.
So I just think the volume is low on that video. Justin was saying that it's the same, but hopefully you could kind of get the gist of what he was saying. Get Notice was with Nikki. You think he was trolling? One part of the interview, Suge was saying that he should just take his time and be done with it. I think that's a weird approach. He's saying don't even fight. If they offer him a plea deal, just take your time and be done with it. Diddy is just basically a product of his environment. Then he lists the people. He also mentioned that Diddy, he does have some tricks up his sleeves. He believes Diddy is smart because I guess one of the guys that they started a music label with, he was facing some charges. Of this rich guy. I didn't catch the name if he even mentioned the name, but it's Diddy's homeboy. Barack Obama pardoned the guy. So, you know, they're part of this crew, or this, I guess you want to call it secret industry, Hollywood, this music weird type of, what do you want to call it? It's just, you know, you gotta, if you want to be a part of this industry, you have to be willing to sell your soul to the devil. And a lot of the music artists and the higher ups, they are the ones that you gotta sell your booty to. And they do it to others. And it becomes an endless cycle because then they not only they were once were a victim, and now they are the perpetrators. So if we're talking about perpetrators, we could even talk about Usher. You know, they even mentioned Jay-Z. Suge didn't, but Jay-Z, everybody's been saying something about Jay-Z. I'm not for sure how true that rumor is, but everybody's saying Jay-Z. You know, you have Meek Mills that's in that bunch. You have Justin Bieber that's in the bunch. So all these people are that's involved and intertwined with this music industry. And I believe it starts at the higher up. I believe Puff Daddy, he probably will, to save his own butt, he's probably going to start snitching on people. If he does have politicians in his pocket, we don't know how high the politicians are. Maybe he could call in a few favors, and we probably would never see Puffy being tried in a court. We probably won't never see this happening. But if Puffy is the sacrifice, he's going to jail, or he might end up being like Jeffrey Epstein. Somebody that his story never came to light. They have all these files about Jeffrey Epstein's and these lists from Jeffrey Epstein's dirty little deeds that he's been doing for years. And a lot of politicians are implicated in Jeffrey Epstein's files. But the only politicians we know of when they released some of the redacted information was Donald Trump. So we have to wonder, like, what is the higher ups, the boule, we call that boule, I guess that's for the black Illuminati. But who is really running the country, this darkness that's in these music industry and Hollywood industry, or Hollywood industry? I think it all intertwines together. The higher ups, Hollywood, music industry, those acting, I guess that would be Hollywood, but those are the industries that, they do things that nobody knows about it. It's a secret society, and you hear rumors about it, but nobody ever comes out and say this and this and this happened. It has to be something hitting the fan. The shit has to hit the fan for the truth to be revealed. Just as Puffy. I believe Puffy is only going through the things that he went through because he disrespected somebody in the higher up. Or maybe he did something they didn't agree with. And so they said, hey, we are no longer protecting you. I really believe that's what's happening to Puffy. You guys, let me know what you think. Lexi is saying, please hit the subscribe button. Get noticed with Nikki. All of these same people was at the Playboy Mansion too. LJ, did you know that the word Hollywood comes from a cult? It was founded by the synagogue of Satan, spoken of in the Bible. You know what? I didn't know that. You got to tell me what book should I be reading to read more about that. Lexi said, yep, the entertainment industry is a dark place behind the scenes. Jonah is saying, you're quick to talk about Diddy, but not Marcellus Williams. Who is Marcellus Williams? Is that the guy from the singing group? You guys, you gotta, not good with names. Yeah, so Marcellus Williams, and that's not what our show is about. Unfortunately, I don't know if that guy they vacated his execution, but I had to read more about his case. I'm not going to talk about that. Jonah. Jonah, I know you want me to talk about something else, but no. This is what we're talking about. The Florida girl is saying, remember Ricky Gervais? They're coming for you at the Golden Globes. Oh, yeah. I guess I take that back. Okay. Outcast, he was executed yesterday. Yeah. So they didn't stay his execution. Jonah Black said no, they unalived him. Old gamer, oh well, he was executed and was innocent. I remember that. And Jonah, do you know the evidence he was convicted on? Some people are saying he robbed a woman, and they actually found him with the evidence that he robbed and took this lady's life. Not for sure. I'm not for sure. I didn't know the case, so I can't talk about it. I don't talk about stuff that I don't know. So we're gonna pray for the guy, but there's nothing I can do about it. Anyway, so you guys put in the chat. Let me know what you think. What do you think will be the next move for Puff Daddy? Do you think he's gonna turn state evidence on himself and give up some other people, or the other people that he might have information on, they're gonna get to him and he's not gonna be here anymore? You guys put it in the chat. Let me know what you think. So I was just reading some of your tweets. Let's get to your girl Kamala Harris. And I just came across Candace Owens' stream and the title because I was doing some independent research on Kamala Harris, trying to compile a video for what I posted this morning about Kamala Harris, or actually Janet Jackson saying that Kamala Harris, I thought she was, white. Okay. And, the black community is saying, shame on you, Janet Jackson. How dare you say Kamala Harris is not black? You asked her opinion. Of course, she's going to give it to you. So why are you getting mad about that? I truly don't understand that. You ask a person opinion, they give it to you, and now you're mad about it. Can somebody explain to me why get mad if you ask a person's opinion and when they give it to you, you get mad because their opinion is not the same as yours? To me, it's ridiculous. So we're on this, it re-sparked this, I guess mainstream media is calling it a lie that Kamala Harris is not black. Okay, they're calling it misinformation that Kamala Harris is not black. In fact, she is black because her father is Jamaican. Yesterday, I posed the question, what makes you a black American? I think Get Noticed with Nikki's, I think you did respond. You said you have to be born of this soul, in American, right? And have a history of black heritage or African heritage. So born on this soil and have a history of African heritage. So that's usually what we call black Americans. because we're in America and our heritage traced back, or even we could say Black Americans, some people were born to this land. We don't want to forget the indigenous people that was already here, right? Prior to slavery, some Black folks was already here prior to slavery. A lot of people don't know that, but that is a true statement. So what constitutes you as a Black American? And most people think, you have to have some type of Black in ya, okay? Some Black identity in you. And when you say, I'm from Jamaica, and that, okay, you could be a Black American if you're from Jamaica. I don't have no qualms about it. You could be a Black American. But what is your ancestry DNA? That's what we're talking about, your lineage. And if your ancestry DNA, just because you was born in Jamaica and they're from Ireland, or like Kamala Harris' father is, they said he's Irish and Hindu meaning Southeast Asia. How can he be Black American? How can she be Black American? Because she doesn't even have the lineage. Have you ever seen Hindus? And I would say Hindus is a religion. I wouldn't even call Hindu, but they have it on her birth certificate. Hinduism is a religion, I would call it, but for some reason they in the United States, I guess back in the day, I guess that's how, unaware or uneducated our system was about different cultures. On her Kamala Harris' birth certificate, it says her mother was a Hindu. And then, they had all these different, categories. And I guess on her father's side, it skips like race and religion, but nationality is Jamaican, or they put race Jamaican, which is a mistake. Jamaican, some people might say, oh, that is a race. Well, we're not from Jamaica. So I would say it's a nationality. That's just where you're original to that land. You have birthrights to that land, like you are an American. That's our nationality. So anyway, I said all this to say that Candace Owens did some deep diving into Kamala Harris' background because of this book that she published. And let me just show you this book, Kamala. I think it's called Untold Truth. This is her book. It's called The Truth We Hold. Okay? And you can get it on Audible and all that stuff. You can find it at Target. Don't know if it's a bestseller or not, but this is the book. Okay? And so Kamala, she has several pictures of the book, and she has several pictures of this book. Several pictures in this book of her and her family. Okay. And so Candace Owens, you can't claim you're going for the highest office of the land. So people are going to start to research you and to do more of an investigation when you make claims. And we've already known Kamala Harris is a known liar. We could just clear the air. We could all say Kamala Harris is a liar. She said she worked at McDonald's. That was a lie. She said she listened to Tupac when she was in college. That was a lie. Kamala Harris is 60. Tupac wasn't even around when she was in college. She said she told Joe Biden during the debate, saying that one of the busing systems that you tried to segregate against, I was part of that desegregation. That was a lie. She said she grew up in Oakland. That was a lie. There's school records that she grew up in Canada from 1st to 12th grade. And if we find out more information, because now Judge Joe Brown got me thinking, I was listening to his interview about Kamala Harris. He said Hindus, and I wouldn't call them Hindus, Indians. If you look at Indian people, you have some Indians that are very dark skinned. And what they used to do is shave their head, cut their beard, because, you know, their hair grows down, not up towards the sun like blacks or Africans or Aboriginals. Our hair grows up towards the sun, whereas Caucasians' hair, it grows down. So Indians used to cut off their hair and apply for schooling as a black American to take advantage of scholarships. I wonder if Kamala Harris ever did that. Because Indian is really considered white, Caucasian. Did she ever change her nationality on her paperwork to receive a scholarship? I'm just putting it out there. If we find out one thing ain't true, how come all these other things are true? You start to wonder. Okay, so let's get to, I don't want to keep on talking about, without showing this, a little bit of Candace Owens' video, because like I said, I think she did an excellent job of showing Kamala Harris, or uncovering Kamala Harris' craziness. Now, I think you should be able to hear this really, because it kind of blasted in my ears. I want to just fast forward to that part. And I will link this in the description section if you guys want to look at the whole episode. It is called Breaking News. Kamala Harris lied about her black grandparents. And this is Candace, episode 71. And
I don't get to suddenly say I'm white, okay? What I discovered was quite startling. Now, I'll ask you, when did you first get the idea that Kamala was black? You say, yeah, when she kind of started running with Joe Biden, and that claim really came from Kamala herself. Because their picture is worth 1,000 words. They understood that Kamala Harris published a book in 2019 called The Truth That We Hold. And presumably the book was filled with truth that she was holding. I had to look through it. And I saw this picture of her and her grandmother, clearly a black-looking grandmother, on page 282 in the photograph section. It reads, as you can see, visiting my paternal grandmother, Beryl, in Jamaica. Also on that same page, there's another photo of her. Again, you can see it's
it's black and white. I'm not quite sure why it is black and white, but it says, when I was 10 months old, I visited Spanish Town, Jamaica. This is me with my mother and my paternal grandfather, Oscar Joseph. And now this guy looks mixed. He looks Asian of some description, but you can see the idea here is that she's definitely trying to introduce, in a manner of photos, things that make her race look more complicated. So I just decided...
She's trying to make it look ambiguous. Her race is ambiguous, okay? So you can't really pinpoint it. Kamala Harris has all the attributes of being black, but you could say there's similar attributes of Indians and black folks, okay? They're similar. The only difference is our hair. That's the biggest difference that you could see. And, you know, the way we age. You know, our aging is, black folks is ageless. Now, I've seen Kamala and without the filters on, and that, what's that called? Decloquette or something like that. That neck looks a little bit wrinkled. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to look like that at 60, but hopefully not, because I, you know, keep up with my exercise. But, you know, most black women, we tend to age very slowly, like fine wine. Kamala, she's very, well, we know she was a very beautiful woman, especially in her heyday. But now, not too much. Now, does she look 60 or does she look older than 60? We don't know. So the comparison, she's just trying to portray I'm a ambiguous race.
To investigate that, and immediately things got weird, very weird. First and foremost, because it was very easy for me to determine via just a light search online that Beryl, her alleged paternal grandmother that you just saw, died 4 years before Kamala was born in 1960. So last night we decided to continue our research to see if we could find birth certificates and marriage certificates and death certificates, which could further signify those points, and indeed it did. And it also raised even more questions about her genealogy. So let's go through those. Here is the birth certificate for her paternal grandmother. This is Kamala's paternal grandmother, Beryl. Okay, now you can see on this birth certificate that Beryl is spelled with an I. It's Beryl Magdalene. And you can see the reason why we know this is the correct Beryl is because the mother is listed as Iris Finnegan. Later on, we're going to show you in the book, she names Iris Finnegan as her great grandmother. So that would be Beryl's mother. So we have the right woman. Also, formerly, her maiden name is Allen. That is true. It also says here that she's born in October of 1917 in St. Anne. That's the St. Anne parish of Jamaica. And again, you can see it says that it is signed by Iris Finnegan. Very clearly, this is the woman that we are looking for. This is Kamala's grandmother, alleged grandmother, Beryl. It's also interesting, by the way, that it lists her great-grandmother as a seamstress because Donald Harris, Kamala's father, wrote in a 2020 piece called Reflections of a Jamaican Father, quote, Miss Iris, that again would be his grandmother, was the mother of 8 children, too, was the sweetest and gentlest person one could meet, but underneath it was a tough farming woman who ran the cane farm at Thatch Walk near
Pay attention. Her mom, I guess this would be her grandmother, was a so-called seamstress, okay? But they are claiming that her dad said she ran a farm. This was one of his fondest memories. She ran a farm. I'll just leave that right there. I'll let Candace Owens continue.
Town, jointly owned with her husband, Mr. Christie. Okay, that's weird. So you're telling me that she ran a farm, because on that birth certificate it says that actually Iris was a seamstress, but whatever. Let's just park that aside for a second and stick with Beryl, this woman who died before Kamala was born, okay? Because I was feeling pretty certain that not too many people were going to be named Beryl and be born in the St. Anne parish of Jamaica in 1917 to a mother named Iris Finnegan. I felt confident that we could find a little bit more data, and in fact, we did, okay? First, we stumbled across Beryl's marriage certificate. Okay, so you can see that right here. And now the name spelling has changed. You have Beryl Finnegan spelled with a Y in the same way that Kamala spells it. And it lists their married date as 1944. Again, you can see the parish that is listed is St. Anne Parish. This is where every piece of Beryl's life seems to take place. It reads here that her calling is a barmaid. And something that jumped out at me was the fact that she's married to someone, as you can see, named Lawford Newland. Okay, so Beryl apparently was married more than once, because Lawford Newland is not Donald Harris's father, but Beryl is his mother. So just to be clear, again, it says that she married a guy named Lawford Newland in 1944. When she was 25 years old, okay? It's important to note that that would have been 4 years after she gave birth to Donald Harris, Kamala's father. I find that to be very strange. Also, regarding Kamala's father,
I really don't think that's strange. I think it was common. You know, I think it was common back then. If you're married to someone or was impregnated by someone, and that person, we don't know if his father actually passed away or if he wasn't a well suitor. And Beryl Finnegan, she sounds like she was from a well-to-do family, because they own quite a bit of land, quite a bit of slaves or indentured servants. It sounds like she was well-to-do, and the family probably said, no, you will not marry him. You will marry so-and-so. That's very common. But it's interesting to see what, if we find out more information.
We cannot seem to locate, regarding Lawland Newland, the person that she married, we can't find him. Can't find him anywhere. We cannot find a birth certificate. We cannot find a death certificate. We can't find a news item or otherwise. I cannot find this alleged Lawford Newland that apparently her grandma got married to. We also can't find a wedding certificate for Beryl and Oscar Wilde Joseph Brown Harris. That is allegedly supposed to be Donald Harris's father. Okay, so Kamala's grandfather is Oscar Wilde Joseph Brown Harris, and we can't find a marriage certificate between the two of them. That's very strange. As speculated, we were able to confirm that Kamala's Black grandmother that she showed us in that picture died in 1960, before Kamala was born. I can show you right now her death certificate. Let's take a look at Beryl's death certificate, which confirms. As you can see there, it says that she died in July of 1960. It also tells us on the right-hand side, you guys will probably have to zoom in on this, but she died of a uterine infection, uterine fibroids due to a hysterectomy. It has her listed as 39 years. That's actually a couple of years off from 1917, so somebody may have gotten their math wrong here. But you once again see that it lists her birthplace as St. Anne. And so this is a huge scandal. Just an absolutely huge scandal. Kamala Harris published in her book that she was standing next to her Grandma Beryl. But Grandma Beryl died in 1960, 4 years before Kamala Harris was born. So who the hell is the real Beryl? Who is that woman standing next to 1960?
Who is this woman standing next to Kamala Harris? I know who the woman is. This is my own, I guess, speculation. This woman is the help. This woman is the servant. Kamala Harris, she got to be in her 20s in this picture, said, this is my paternal grandmother. She published this book. Let's go back when she published this book. Back in 2020. That's when she published this book. Let me just make sure I'm telling you the right date. When?
Ma'am,
Yeah.
do I have to wash the dishes and dry the dishes, or just wash the dishes?
Wash them and I'll help you put them away. January 8th in 2019, The Truth Told, American Journey is a memoir by Kamala Harris. The book was first published by Penguin Books on January 8th of 2019. Okay, that's when she decided to run for office. I don't know if she's ever, she wasn't picked by Joe Biden then, but this is when, she decided to run for office. Okay, this ambiguous race, so Kamala Harris could find, to use the black card on you Negroes to say, oh, she's of a black race, and she put a fake picture of her, the lady that used to help out around the house and in the fields. She probably helped raise the kids.
Is implausibly her grandmother. And by the way, I'm going to say this and people can be offended, but the first thing that I thought when I saw the photo of her sitting on her great grandmother's lap was that this doesn't look like a grandparent affection going on here. Like, this woman looks like she could be working for the family. Quite literally.
Because she is working for the family. We have to remember, Donald Harris, Kamala Harris' father, already told everybody who will listen, I'm assuming, that yes, my parents had plenty of land. We had plenty of servants, and we were in the farmland in Jamaica. We had several estates with people, servants. And before they called them servants, they called them slaves. That's where they came from. That's his family history. And he referred to himself as a Hindu Irishman. That's his mixed race. This is Donald Harris. And the only ties that he has to Jamaica is because he was born there. His parents wasn't from Jamaica. His parents' wasn't Jamaica. The only ties they had to Jamaican the Jamaican people is because they employed them or they enslaved them. Look at this picture. This is with my great-great-grandmother, Iris Finnegan. That's what she's saying. Iris Finnegan. Have you ever met, well, now, let me retract. I was about to say, have you ever met a black person with the last name Finnegan? But we could retract that statement because it is in Jamaica. Jamaica was colonized by the British people. So we can't make that claim. But, you know, something, this lady, this age, you think her name will be Finnegan. And this is a black woman. You guys put it in the chat.
Literally, I thought to myself, this woman looks like she could be the help. And I thought that because there's a lack of affection there. Do you know what I mean? But there's no, like, in both of the photos, there's a lack of affection. It's just like a woman standing next to her. And I obviously know that that was a circumstance. When you're talking about a family that had a ton of plantations, which is the reality. She descends from Irish slavers. That is a fact that Kamala Harris cannot deny. She descends from wealthy Irish slavers who virtually they did own the town. They named the town. It was Hamilton Town, then it was Brownstown in Jamaica. He had over 1,000 slaves, okay? It would follow that there would be help around the house. And I'm just gonna put here as a question mark, not as a fact. If they're looking at some of these photos of people who became like family and they're trying to pass them off like relatives, again, not a fact, a huge question mark, but my instinct tells me that that person is actually not her family member. And if it is, well, Kamala's got some explaining to do. How did she meet Grandma Beryl almost 20 years after Grandma Beryl died?
How did Kamala Harris meet her grandma after grandma passed away? You guys put it in the chat. Beryl, this woman right here. This is Beryl. Supposedly Beryl. This is supposed to be Mama Beryl. Mama of Beryl. They look just alike. We know these probably two people are kin to each other. This is probably her mother. But this cannot be Beryl if your grandmother died. Your grandmama was dead when you took. Where's the picture at? When you took this picture, you said this was your paternal grandmother and you lied. Because this cannot be your paternal grandmother because they said she was dead 4 years before you even was conceived, before you was even born. Justin Thompson is saying this is no different than Senator Elizabeth Warren claiming to be an Indian or Representative Santos claiming so many lies for votes. Exactly. If you guys don't know, I don't know, you have to thumb through my posts. People always say, oh, you're always talking about black women, blah, blah, blah. No, I did probably about 4 or 5 videos about Senator Santos. I called him talented Mr. Ripley because he identified with everything. He was a war vet. Then he was raising money for pets for the war vets. You know, he was a transgender. And then he was something else. Like, okay, you lie, and now nobody believes you. And then you're going around town getting on people podcasts trying to preach about the people that's still in office. Well, you destroyed. This is the very reason why I think you should not be able to run for office if you're not born in America. Because Santos wasn't born in America. He became a citizen, but he wasn't born in America. We know Kamala Harris is questionable, but she was born in Oakland, and she carries that on her sleeve. She's trying to portray she's the down girl. She's one of the home girls. That's why in that interview when we was watching Oprah Winfrey, she claims that, hey, I'm a gun owner, and if you break into my house, you're getting shot. Well, in the state of California, if you shoot the intruder, they could sue you. So we know you're lying, Kamala. And you probably one of those people that wrote and co-authored the bill to, protect the offenders. We know you want to defund the police. We know you don't want to export or deport immigrants. We know you want to give taxpayer money, dollars, to illegal immigrants. We know you put Black women behind bars because their children cannot come to school because of sickness or illnesses, or just having the pain of being a single Black mother. We know you don't care for them. You have no genuine bone in your body. Back to my original statements about Kamala Harris' birth certificate. And on your birth certificate, this is a copy of Kamala Harris' birth certificate. And I thought her middle name was Devi. Why does it say Iyer? But anyway, it has her mom's maiden name. Her race is Caucasian. Age 26. Birthplace, India. Okay? That's fine. Kamala Harris. I don't know why they put single. Oh, no. Type of birth, single, triplets, or twins. I think that's what they're saying. Was she born with another baby? Kamala Harris is the last name. She was born in Oakland, California. Okay? Alameda County. So she was born of this land. So she is an American. She is an American. We could say that. Donald Jasper Harris, color or race of father. You put Jamaican. Do we know if Donald was around when they was putting this? Probably not. He wasn't privy to get that information on the birth certificate because they got it all wrong. And then birthplace is Jamaica. So I guess you're Jamaican if you were born in Jamaica, which is true. But what is his lineage? You don't mysteriously become Jamaican just because you was born in Jamaica. Do you get what I'm saying? You don't mysteriously become Black just because you was born in Jamaica. Elon Musk, I use this example all the time. Elon Musk, he's African. He's African. But is he Black? It's about the skin color, even though it's a social construct. Some people are like, oh, it's a social construct. But is he a Black African? No. His lineage is probably somewhere from Europe or Ireland or somewhere like that. You guys put it in the chat. Let me know what you think. Old Gamer said he is alive to this day. Why can't he speak for himself? Are you saying Donald Harris? Donald Harris doesn't want anything to do with Kamala Harris. And this is the reason why, you guys. I mentioned this the other day. Kamala Harris. I wish I could find that Fox News one. It was a good one. Kamala Harris shamed by Jamaican father over pot smoking joke. Okay. Kamala Harris, back in 2019, she went on the Breakfast Club and, they were asking about her prosecuting record in California. Okay. She was running for president. So, for some reason, the Breakfast Club like to get political. They have the right to be. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But Charlemagne asked her, hey, have you ever smoked pot? And she looked, what kind of stuff you talking about? My people from Jamaica, of course I smoke pot. And yes, I inhaled. Okay. Kamala Harris is shamed by Jamaican father over pot smoking joke. Kamala Harris made headlines last week when she joked in a radio interview that, of course, she smoked marijuana in her younger years. Half my family's from Jamaica. Are you kidding? But the crack didn't go over well with at least one Jamaican, Donald J. Harris, her father. The elder Harris sent an unsolicited statement to Kingston-based Jamaican Global Online, for which the emeritus professor of economics at Stanford University wrote a recent essay on his family history. He said, my dear departed grandmothers, whose extraordinary legacy I describe in a recent essay on this website, as well as my deceased parents, must be turning over in their grave right now to see their family's name, reputation, and proud Jamaican identity being connected in any way, jokingly or not, with the fraudulent stereotype of a pot-smoking joy seeker and in the pursuit of identity politics. Kamala Harris is a grifter. And you Negroes have the nerve to shame other people because they don't believe Kamala Harris is black. Or they don't even they don't care one way or another, but they just don't support Kamala Harris. How can you not support a black woman? Speaking for myself and my immediate Jamaican family, we wish to categorically disassociate ourselves from this travesty. Kamala Harris is a travesty. This is from her father. Her father, the person that you look for support and the person you look for to, like a backbone, you look to your father for encouragement, for strength. That's what fathers they're supposed to bring to the table. Strength, right? Encouragement. Speaking for myself and my immediate Jamaican family, we wish to categorically disassociate ourselves from this travesty. And Kamala Harris' campaign had no comment. And this was on the Breakfast Club. And she said she smoked a joint in college and I inhaled, she added, a joking reference to former President Bill Clinton comment on the campaign trail in 1992. Donald Harris, who did not respond to requests for comments, worked with the Jamaican website administrator when he was consulting and writing about the economy there in 1990s. In the email reviewed by Politico, Donald Harris indicated that he wasn't interested in discussing the issues further publicly. I have decided to stay out of all the political hullabaloo. I don't know what that means. Hoopla. We call it hoopla, maybe. By not engaging in any interviews with the media, he wrote. So, this is why Donald Harris is not speaking out. He's not going to contribute to, well, I'm assuming he don't want to harm Kamala and her election aspirations, but he doesn't condone it. He's not going to come out and say, yeah, I condone Kamala Harris or I'm supporting my daughter. No. He's not going to come out and say that. But that's all I got to say about that. You guys put it in the chat. Let me know what you think. I was going to give you some more information, but what more can I give you? I mean, I can show you some videos where Kamala Harris says she's the first Indian president, senator, and she identified as an Indian woman as a senator and all that stuff. And she never corrected the media. She decided, oh, this is my lane. I'm going to stay here, you know. And then now, you know what? You can pass for a black woman and your father's Jamaican. We need to run with that. Say you're black and Jamaican because, black women, they will go out and fight for you. They'll collect these votes, knock on doors. You just got to identify with the black people. Lexi said it's pretty bad when your own father rejects you. Yeah, it's it's pretty bad when your own father rejects you. It's pretty bad. Monica said, I'll be driving in a minute, so I'll still be listening. Thank you, Monica. Old gamer, they don't want him to speak because he will tell the truth. Yeah, no, they don't want him to speak, but I think he's old school, probably a wise person. Hey, I'm not going to get into that. I don't want people, blasting my daughter or anything like that. She's doing what she's doing. I don't approve of it. And I'm pretty sure she talked to him. Yeah, I don't approve with you grifting. You're giving your people a bad name. You're actually not even proud of your heritage. You're grifting, you're lying, saying you're one thing and you're another. Oh, Gamer said Judge Joe Brown video is a good one. Yeah, It's a very good video. You guys, you need to just type in Judge Joe Brown on Kamala Harris. She was very tough on black men in California. Yes, she was. For the very reason, talking about you joking around about pot and you locked a whole bunch of people because of pot, marijuana. Yeah, Art of the Dialogue interview Judge Joe Brown is very detailed. Exactly. Kennard, the DJ, she makes greens in the tub with her nasty ass. Everybody knew, real black people that know how to cook. Like, you wash greens in the tub? And I'm thinking but she said the bathtub. I'm thinking like the steel tub. They do have, especially down south, they have the steel tubs where, you could sit outside, pick your greens or wash your greens, soak your beans and stuff like that. That kind of tub. No, she's talking about an actual bathtub. Superior grifter. She is mixed with white and Indian. That's what she's mixed with. White and Indian. We got to remember, Indians, if you are of the darker Indian race, Asian Indians. Look at Vivek Ramaswamy. He's Asian Indian, and he's brown skin. He's a brown skinned guy. They're not doing, on this picture, they're not doing justice. But look at this picture. Asian Indian. You have some light and darker. I seen some Asian Indians that's darker than this lady right here in this corner. I'm assuming they get discriminated against in this woman. Look how dark she is. They probably, it's probably colorism in India as well. But look how dark she is. Jamaican is a nationality. This is from Gary Williams. Black is ethnicity. Thank you. Judge Joe Brown said that was a mistake on the birth certificate. He said he met her father, and he is white. Yes, that's what Judge Joe Brown, he said that, yeah, I'm Caucasian. I'm white. Because I guess Hindus or Asian Indians, I guess they consider themselves white. How can you vote for a black woman like Tiffany Henyard? LOL. Democrats will vote Democrat no matter what. Yes. And a bathtub is usually across from the toilet. Ain't no grease from there. Yeah, you flushing the toilet. Oh, you got to use the bathroom. Now you sitting on the toilet. Are you still washing greens while you sit down? Or you just got the greens soaking and then other people coming in? It's really odd. I don't care how many greens I had to cook. I ain't washing them in no tub. You just don't do that. Those Asian Hindus be black. Yeah, their skin is very dark. Yes, there is. They are called more melanated people, Kafirs. Old Gamer, he claims Caucasian. Yeah, his Donald Harris said he's a Caucasian. He identified with his Caucasian side of the family. But he has the right to call himself Caucasian because he's half Irish. Anywho, you guys let me know what you think. This morning, if you have a chance, you can go visit my other channel. We did stream. We got on kind of late, but we did stream live on that channel. And we talked about Puff Daddy. So we got more in depth. And, you know, we really talk about Jaguar White and how people are not really believing her. But, you know, it's one of those things that if you know, you make claims, and if people feel like you're crazy, they're not gonna believe you. Anyway, that video is up, that episode is up, so take a listen to that episode. That's Chawanne Burns 2.0. And you guys, I really appreciate every single last one of you. Hopefully you have a good rest of your evening. Lexi, Thornton meeting last night was crazier than the last. I know. That's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. I'm waiting for a certain YouTube channel to post theirs because I tend to think that they have a, you know, better audio. I don't want to deal with the crazy audio this time. So but we'll be discussing Thornton Township last night, and I hear it was crazy. So we'll be discussing that. So you guys stay tuned. I am sending all my good to you. I will talk to you tomorrow.